time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying.
Well, greetings. I'm Pastor Milton Wren Jr., Senior Pastor of Kingdom Builders right here in Birmingham, Alabama. I am excited about this opportunity to come into your homes, your jobs, your automobiles, wherever you may be, to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. You're watching the replay from the Kingdom Experience on today, Sunday, June the 7th, 2020. We had a wonderful worship experience. We talked about prepare yourself. That's right, prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself for what God has prepared for you. This is lesson number 2 in the series, Dealing with the Unexpected. And we're dealing with the life of Moses. We might be here for the next several weeks because there is so much to unpack in Moses' life, from intervention by God to obstacles to dealing with Pharaoh, injustice. Moses had everything going wrong in his life, but everything that was going wrong turned out to work out for his good because God didn't call it an interruption. He called it an intervention. And he spent time in Pharaoh's house learning and preparing himself for that one moment to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt. I am excited. I'm looking forward to this lesson. Tag somebody, text someone, let them know that the Kingdom Experience is on, and I want you to share this video with them. Let's go inside and see exactly what's about to take place. Prepare yourself now for what's prepared for you. I love you, and I'll be back at the end. Be blessed. Exodus chapter 3, verse number 1 and 2. Exodus chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. And this is part 2 of dealing with the unexpected. Dealing with the unexpected. Listen to what it says in verse number 1. Now Moses was keeping the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, and he led his flock to the west side. Listen at this, the west side of the mountain, the wilderness, and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. Verse number 2 says, and the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. He looked, and behold, the bush was burning, yet it was not consumed. Yet it was not consumed. I want to talk part 2 of this dealing with the unexpected from this thought in our minds, and that is prepare yourself. Let me say that again. Prepare yourself. Repeat that after me, if you will, Facebook and YouTube. Prepare yourself. Yes, God, as I begin, God never wastes anyone's time. He never wastes anyone's time. And if you're willing to be led by God, he will always lead us toward purpose. I want to say that again. He will always lead us toward purpose. Many people fall sometimes, and many people fail sometimes because they always feel like every time they're getting ready to do something, their past comes up. Every time I'm getting ready to make a major move, some kind of way my past comes up. But might I suggest to you that when opportunities comes, you and I, we have to make the most of those opportunities. And the best way to do that is to be prepared in advance. Not only do we want to be prepared in advance, we want to prepare now for what's going to take place in our future. Do y'all understand this? So what do you mean, Pastor Ren? In this text, all of us are familiar with the life of Moses. We know Moses and how God spoke to Moses. We understand he was a deliverer for the people of God that were in bondage. And Moses spent, listen at this, 2/3 of his life being shaped for the final 3% of his life. Did you hear that? He spent 2/3 of his life being shaped for the final third of his life. During the first 40 years, he grew up in Egypt, mastering all the wisdom of the Egyptians and becoming mighty. Listen at the word in Acts chapter 7, it tells us in word and in deed. God visits him while he's on the backside of the desert, keeping his father-in-law's sheep. And God came to Moses from the far side of the desert. I want to say that again. God came to Moses from the far side of the desert. Can I give you a kingdom nugget? And I pray you're able to get this. It's going to be on the screen. I want you to write it down. Here it is. God always shows up in desert places. Let me say that again. I need you to write that down. God always shows up in desert places. You and I know this. You know this. And what we know is sometimes the place that we're in may not be the place that God promised us. We may not be walking beside the still waters. We may not be laying down in green pastures, but do know that God always shows up in desert, dry, desolate places. I need you to tell somebody every now and then. You need to tell somebody, text somebody, tweet them and tell them, I'm on the backside of the desert. Yeah, come on. I need you to tweet that. I need you to text that to somebody. Tell them I'm on the backside. But don't just leave it there. Tell them this is the place where God is going to show up and meet me. Moses found God in a dry place. And the truth be told, the church, listen at this, the church shouldn't only be the place where people find God. I want to say that again. The church should not be the only place where people find God. If you would be honest, there's some people watching right now that can say, Pastor Ian, you're talking to me because I didn't find God on a Tuesday night. I didn't find God in BTU. I didn't find God in UTB. I didn't find God in Sunday school. I didn't find him in Bible study. I found God in the crack house. I found God at the liquor store. I found God getting out of the wrong bed. I found God in some dry, desolate places. And could it be that God is saying to us, you don't have to only find me in church, I'll be wherever you are, especially if it's a dry place. Come on, I need you to give me some hearts if you're one of the ones that found him not in church, but you found him on the backside. You found him in a dry place. You found him in a dry season of your life. Come on, put that on there, shout it out as loud as you can. I found him on the backside. That's right, I found him on the backside. And I say this because sometimes God does his best work outside of the four walls, because light shines best in darkness. Can I say that again? Light shines best in darkness. Can I give you a principle right here? Principle number one, write it down. You see God's best in the dry seasons of your life. Yeah. You see God's best in the dry seasons of your life. When you had money, you treated her like a queen. But when the money ran out, somebody can attest to this, he treated you like he was Prince Charming at one time, but then Freddy Krueger came out when the money ran out. Oh, you were the best thing that ever happened since sliced bread when you had it going on. But soon as you hit a dry season, then things begin to change, because people change depending upon how we feel. But God will meet us in those dry seasons. And I'm telling you, what is a dry season? It's when friends wouldn't call you back. What is a dry season, Pastor Ren? When your children are acting crazy. What is a dry season? Is it when there's no money in the bank? What is a dry season? That's when I've got sickness in my body, but I'm still declaring that by his stripes I'm healed. Those are dry seasons that God meet us at. Yes. And there's no shout. Listen at this. There is no shout. There is no praise like a praise in a dry season. When you're broke, unemployed, sick, baby daddy drama, baby mama drama, when you sitting there trying to figure out how am I going to make ends meet, there is no shout like a dry season shout in your life. And so it is. Look at verse number 1. It says, now Moses was keeping the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, and led his flock to the west side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. He was raised, listen y'all, he was raised in royalty for 40 years. 40 years he was a royal prince. And then 40 years he has to chase dumb sheep. 40 years he's raised in Pharaoh's house. 40 years he's a prince. 40 years he has no job that the Israelite would want. In the season, listen at this, in the seasons of preparation, there will be a many seasons that you have to be faithful in jobs that are beneath your promise and your future. That's not a kingdom nugget, but it should have been. Let me say that again. During the seasons of preparation, there will be many seasons. I'm talking about M-I-N-I, many short seasons that you and I will have to be faithful in jobs that are beneath our purpose and our future. You know good and well you're bigger than what you've been dealing with. You're much bigger than where you are, but you have to manage the small seasons. You have to manage those many seasons the right way, which shows God that you are ready for the next level. No, you're not ready for the big stage if you have not mastered or handled the small platform well. And don't look for something grand if you're not going to master where you are. Here is what the word tells us. You've got to be able to run with the footmen first before you deal with the horses and the chariots. No. Don't look at the lights and the glitz and the glamour. Deal with where you are and handle where you are effectively and faithfully, and then God will raise you up. So there are many seasons, small seasons, that we have to handle. Listen at this. You don't get raised in the palace to be regulated to sheep duty. Can I say that again? You're not raised in the palace to be relegated to sheep duty. What does that mean, Pastor Ren? God says your mother put you in the water. He let the daughter of Pharaoh find you. He let Pharaoh raise you in his house. He let him raise you as a sheep only to be put in a place where you've got this scoop up sheep poop. You've got this scoop up sheep mess. Why? Because it's training people. Listen at this. The people that did the greatest for God, all of them started in jobs that were beneath their potential and who they were. Don't you ever feel like you're by yourself. I'm not supposed to be here. Why am I singing background? God knows I'm a lead singer. Be faithful where you are. Because everybody that God used mightily all started in some position beneath their purpose and their potential. What do you mean, Pastor Ren? Look at Joseph. He spent years in prison because of lies that Pharaoh's wife told on him. But then he ultimately comes second in command. Look at David. David is chosen to be king. And then he still, after having the king spoke over him, has to go out and tend sheep and play the harp in a one-man band for a man that's trying to kill him. Look at Paul, studied at the feet of Gamaliel, the greatest apostle in my mind to ever live and walk the face of the earth. He's now relegated to making tents. He's preaching the gospel, but he's still making tents. And then Jesus Christ, the King of Kings, living on streets of gold, lived as a carpenter's son because it was showing us no matter who you are and no matter what kind of greatness is on the inside of you, sometimes you have to do things that are beneath your purpose and your potential. I'm talking to somebody. Don't quit that job. Don't you get out of where you are, because God has you there for a reason. And if you can master where you are effectively, promotion is on the way. Here is what it tells us. Promotion doesn't come from the north. It doesn't come from the south. It doesn't come from the east or the west. Promotion comes from God and God alone. Here it is. Don't get mad at your current position's limitations. You may have the degrees. You may have the knowledge. You may be prepared, but remember, write this down. Today's decisions set the stage for tomorrow's destiny. Let me say that again. Today's decisions set the stage for tomorrow's destiny. What are you willing to do today that's going to set you up for tomorrow? Everybody's saying, I'm headed to a new level. I'm headed to a new dimension. But here it is. If you're not faithful over where you are, double is not coming your way. If you can't be faithful over one automobile, why are you praying for 3? If you can't be faithful over $50, why am I praying for $50,000? No. Promotion doesn't come to those that ask. Promotion comes to those that are prepared and those that know how to handle where they are. We've got to master that. So I must be faithful to God. Here it is, in the dry seasons of my life. I must be faithful to God. Why? Because eventually the bush is going to burn, and the bush is the glory of God. Let me say that again. The bush is going to burn. If you stay faithful, if you stay committed, the bush is going to burn. And when the glory of God shows up, you encounter God in a different way. Come on, let's look at this. Let's look at this. You're praying to God, give me a husband. But here it is. Am I going to be ladylike qualities? Do I have ladylike qualities? I'm praying to God to give me a wife, but am I willing to work? Am I willing to provide? There's some things I must do now to prepare myself for tomorrow. Principle number 2, here it is. The key to more is faithfulness with less. I want to say that again. The key to more is faithfulness with less. It's not me sowing a seed on the altar. It's not me buying a $25 prayer shawl. It's not me getting water shipped from the Jordan. That's not going to get me more. What's going to get me more is if I'm faithful over the few that I have. Here is the word of God for those that are saying, I need Bible, Pastor. If you be faithful over a few things, God says, I'll make you ruler over many. You've got to be faithful over that one-room apartment. You've got to be faithful over that 2000 or that 1997 Toyota Corolla. Be faithful over what you have. Treat it like it's what you will get, and watch God send what you need. So we got to be faithful right there. My key to abundance is faithfulness with less. Exodus chapter 2, verse number 11. Listen to what it says. One day when Moses had grown up, he went out, looked around, saw the people, saw the burdens, and the Egyptian beating a Hebrew, his brother. He had passion. He looked this way, he looked that way. Moses tried early in chapter number 2 to do what he's called to do in chapter number 3. I want to say that again. He tries to do in chapter number 2 what he's called to do in chapter number 3. You didn't get it. I want to say it again. He tries in chapter number 2 to do what he's called to do in chapter number 3. Principle number 3, here it is. How you handle it will show God if you're ready for it. Woo! How you handle it now will show if you're ready for it later. Mishandling a simple situation only means you're not ready for what God has. Just because your marriage didn't work with him or her doesn't mean it won't work with somebody else. Just because this job treated you like they didn't appreciate you doesn't mean the next one will. Just because the last church didn't appreciate your value and your gifts doesn't mean the next one won't. How you handle your now will determine God if you're ready for your later. In closing, and I'm done with this. If I was to give a kingdom shout today, it would be simply this. I'm mature enough to wait it out while God work it out. Can I say that again? I'm mature enough to wait it out while God work it out. I'm waiting it out while God works it out. While I'm waiting, Moses, listen to what happens. While waiting on God, Moses gets a wife. While waiting on God, Moses gets a family. He gets a mentor for his leadership, his father-in-law. While he's waiting it out, God began to bless him because he did not rush the process, but he waited until the time was right. I'm telling somebody, if you're willing to wait your turn, God says that he's going to bless you in the process. And the two most glorious words to the believer, in my opinion, is not yet. I'm not waiting on my time to come. I'm waiting on my turn because my time is already here. So not yet. Yeah. Can I say that again to somebody that's anxious to get out there and do what God called you to do? Not yet. It may be your time, but it may not be your turn. Wait where you are. Be patient and give God the opportunity to work it out while you wait it out. If you was to do that, I believe with all of my heart, that's the preparation that God is calling all of us to. If you're watching today and you're saying, Pastor Ian, that message was for me. I've been jumping ahead of God. I've been asking God for things that I haven't even prepared myself for. I'm asking God for things that I haven't even took the time to make preparations. Well, I want you to know now is the time to do that. Forget about what haven't gone right. Forget about what failed. Start preparing yourself right now. I want to pray with you. If you're not saved, the information will be on the screen. If you're not saved, we'd love to connect with you. I'd love to pray with you. And I would love to lead you in this prayer because I don't believe that God sent his son to die so that we could be lost. But he wants you to be saved. And I want to welcome you into the family of God. If you're there, if that's you, and you're saying, I'm not saved, I don't know Jesus as my Lord and Savior, I'm asking you to repeat this prayer with me. Lord, I'm a sinner. I believe you died for my sin. I believe you sent your son, Jesus Christ, to be hung, bled, and he died. I believe that he went in the grave and stayed 3 days. I believe on the third day he got up, and he got up with me in mind. And now he's seated at your right hand forevermore. Father, I want you to come into my heart, change my mind, and create in me a new spirit. If you prayed that prayer, my brothers and my sisters, I believe you're saved. And I'd like to welcome you into the family of God. I need you to do me a favor. You need to find a good Bible teaching, Bible preaching church. Yeah, this is the time you need to find that. You need to connect with other believers that will help nurture that spiritual growth. Because the enemy will tell you it was just an emotional statement. But you need to know without a shadow of a doubt that my life has changed in my mind and in my heart. And I'm going to continue on to have my mind renewed every day. I love you and I'm praying for you. And I'm Pastor Milton Wren. I want to say this as we get ready to end today, that it's a wonderful opportunity. I take joy. I've taught our people this and I believe this with all of my heart. that there are two places in every worship service that the kingdom-minded people should be a part of. Number one, that's worship, because that's the only thing that God doesn't own. He doesn't own our worship. We have to freely give that to him. He looks for it. He's seeking somebody that will worship him. So he's a part of the worship. That's for him. And then the second part of every worship experience is the giving, because we give to God. We give through a church. We may give to people, but we're giving to God. We give honor to God, and we add value on the ministries that we support. I want to challenge you today. If you're a tither, if you belong to a local church, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that your tithe belong there. If you're in between churches, you're indecisive, or you don't have a local church, consider tithing, consider sowing into this ministry. I believe it's good ground. We've heard nothing but testimonies after of what God has been doing in the lives of the people. And I believe that God is ready to bless you. But what's in my hand must be released first in order for God to release what he has in his hands. If you're wanting to give today, there's several ways you can do it. You can do it through Cash App. That information will be on the screen. Cash App at Kingdom Builders Birmingham. Givelify. You can search Kingdom Builders. You can do text to give. That's one of my favorite ones now. You can text KBMG to 54244. That's KBMG to 54244. And whatever seed you would like to give over and above your tithe, we know that God will receive your seeds. Today I'm excited because we get to honor somebody as well. While you're giving, I want to just go ahead and just congratulate once again our healthcare professional, the recipient of the $25 gas card, as well as lunch on KBB, Sister Mary Revelle. That's right, Mary Revelle. She was the KBB recipient, healthcare recipient. She works at St. Vincent's East, and we certainly wanted to honor her this week as one of our healthcare professionals and first responders, as well as today we get an opportunity to bless one of our members with $50. That's right. And the winner today is Brother Chris C.T. Thomas. That's right. C.T. Brother Christopher Thomas. It's your day today. And Kingdom Builders is excited, and we thank you for all that you do. I love you. I'm Pastor Milton Wren Jr. And until Tuesday morning, tune in Tuesday morning for the midday motivation at 12 noon. As a matter of fact, we're going to replay something for you this week that I really believe is going to bless you. I love you. And until next time, let's keep building the kingdom. Tell somebody this week we're celebrating, because next Sunday, June the 14th, KBB will be 5 years old. That's right. We're putting 5 on it. And I'm excited about what God is going to do. Celebrate with us in the cyber sanctuary. Until next time, let's keep building the kingdom. Be blessed. Wow. Let me just say this. Today was awesome. Today was awesome. It was a kingdom experience, but the word really blessed me. And we talked about prepare yourself. That's right. You have to prepare yourself for what God has prepared for you. I'm super excited. And I'm sitting here just amazed at God's creation, enjoying this sun and soaking it all in. Do me a favor. I need you to share this video. Let somebody else know. If you were blessed, tell somebody. If we got some areas we need to come up on, and that's a lot of them, let me know. Shoot me a message, DM me, whatever we need to do to help connect you with the kingdom. I want to do that today. I'm Pastor Milton Wren Jr. On behalf of my wife, Lady Angela Wren. She's affectionately known as the fragrance of the house. That's right. She's the fragrance of the house. I appreciate her. We're praying for you, and we're believing God that your best days are still ahead of you. Tune in Tuesday at 12 noon for the midday motivation. It's going to be at 12 noon. I really believe you're going to like this, okay? Love you. And until then, let's keep building. Be blessed.